Let's think about something that's very basic right now, and that is, do you have preferences regarding the ways that you do life? I mean, for example, the way you like to manage your routines or who you like to hang out with. You have simple preferences? Or do you have favorite activities that you enjoy spending time in? Do you hold on to opinions? Sometimes do you have very firm opinions and notions and ideas and beliefs? Do you have ideas about how relationships can and should unfold? And of course, the answer to all those questions is, well, sure, I have those preferences and opinions and ideas and things like that. We all do. Not only is it okay to have your preferred ways of doing life, it's necessary because in doing so, it allows you to establish the boundaries that you want to live inside of. It gives you a sense of initiative and a sense of direction when you know who you are, what you believe, and what you prefer. Now, let's go over into the world of the narcissist, and we can ask those same questions, and you know that they're going to say, oh yeah, I have all sorts of preferences, and I have all sorts of favorite ideas and activities, and I've got my opinions and my notions about how things are supposed to unfold. But behind all of that, there's a hook. Because you see, they have the idea that says, when I have my preferences and my ways of doing things, that's the way it's supposed to be. And they bring this attitude of entitlement to the table that perhaps the average normal person isn't going to have. In essence, the entitled narcissistic individual operates very strongly with the theme that says, you owe me. And you'll hear about it and you'll know about it. Now, interestingly, you have differences between the covert and the overt narcissist in the way they do things. Now, the overt narcissist, they don't leave any kind of question marks at all. They're going to be very open with respect to their demands, and it's like, no, you need to be told, here's what you need to do and here's why, and I'm large and I'm in charge, and they're not going to be bashful at all about what you need to do for them. Whereas the more covert narcissist is going to have their mannerisms, and they're going to be maybe a little bit more subtle in the way that they have their entitlement, but it's there too. So what I want to do is I want to go through 7 different signs or 7 different indicators that illustrate this narcissistic mindset of entitlement, because the more you realize what you're dealing with, and the more it can help you figure out how best to respond to them so that you don't get pulled into their game playing. For example, number 1, many times narcissists can act nice on the surface, and then they expect some sort of accolade in return. I mean, it can be something really simple, like they did a chore around the house, or they helped you out with a project at work. And then it's kind of like you notice they are looking like, well, did everybody over there notice me? And have you seen what I've done lately? And aren't I a terrific person? And they're wanting that pat on the back because, well, when I do something, this is me. And you've been done a major favor. Now, what are you going to do for me in reverse? And so it kind of speaks of a disingenuous approach towards goodness. It's like, yeah, I'll be good as long as you give me the accolades that I think that I deserve. Or a second way that they can show this spirit of entitlement. Narcissists will feel very easily betrayed when you have separate opinions or preferences. Many times as they express their desires and preferences themselves, and then it becomes clear that you're not on the same page, they'll say things like, you're not listening to me, or you're not catching on to the concept, or you're not cooperating, when in fact it's like, oh, I'm hearing you just fine. I just happen not to agree with you. And so they interpret that as you not giving them what they deserve, because deservedness is so much at the heart and soul of their attitude of entitlement. And so it's like, you're not on my team. You're supposed to back me up. You're supposed to be somebody that says all these nice things and does all these nice things for me. Why are you doing this to me? A third way that their entitlement can be played out is they can hold grudges for a long, long time. One of the ways that you can get an idea of a person's sense of entitlement is to watch the level of anger that a person has. And when I say anger, it can also come in the form of bitterness or resentment or just harboring ill will towards other individuals. If something happens in their world and it just did not play out according to their agenda, it's like, oh, you are such a sorry human being. And in their mind, they can just think all sorts of bad thoughts. And I mean, it can be next week, they still haven't gotten over it. Or it may be 22 years later. And it's like, do you remember the time when that person said this about me? It's like, get over it. It's been decades. No, I'm not getting over it. Why? Because I'm entitled. I deserve the best that everybody has to offer to me. And if you don't, I am going to keep a long memory about that. You ever been around people who think like that? It'll wear you out, won't it? Or a fourth way that narcissists can portray their attitude of entitlement, and that is they like to sometimes pretend that they agree with you, and they like to appear cooperative in projects and things like that. And then later on, you realize that they're trying to gain an inroad into your world so that you will eventually do what they want. For example, let's suppose that, somebody wants money spent on something over here. And so they're going to be real nice and all of this. And then afterwards, it's like, well, yeah, I'm really helpful with you when you want your things. Now you need to do something for me. And there's a tit for tat and you realize, well, that cooperative kind of thing wasn't that at all. It was a manipulation. It was a tool. And so there's that you owe me mentality now that I've shown an agreeable spirit. A fifth way that narcissists can show their entitlement is they're incapable of pondering the meaning of your emotions. Now you may say, well, what does that have to do with entitlement? Well, think about it this way. Narcissists, in their mind, it's like, well, there's one person in the room whose emotions are necessary and whose emotions that I care about knowing, that's me. I don't care about you because you need to care about me, but I just don't need to go over there into your world. What you think, what you feel, how you process things, it doesn't matter. Now, you need to understand me, but I don't really care about you. That's their entitlement. A sixth thing that indicates this attitude of entitlement is that they can be thin-skinned in the midst of disagreements. And when I say thin-skinned, it can be like ridiculously thin-skinned. On maybe even the mildest of disagreements, they have pontificated and given their opinion or expressed a preference, and you may say, I'm not real sure I'm with you on that. And then boom, it's out of nowhere. It's like, how dare you think that way? Or the covert narcissist may be thinking, this is so why I don't want to have anything to do with you. And they can go into shutdown mode, but there's not going to be any sense of openness and pleasantness at all. The thin-skinned, even in the midst of any kind of differentness, is just a part of that sense of entitlement. You're not giving me what I feel like I deserve in this moment. And they're not team players at all. And then a seventh way that narcissists can illustrate their sense of entitlement, and that is they can be unbending in their principles and preferences. If you differ with them, there is no compromise. It's like, well, I have declared, I have spoken, that's enough. And then when you say, well, I've got a different way of looking at things, it's like, no. Your vote doesn't count here. I'm the only one in here that matters. That's that attitude of entitlement. You see, I start with the assumption that in any kind of relationship, whether it's 2 people or 48 people, there's a certain blending that we want to have in the way that we engage with each other. And when everybody shows up with this attitude of entitlement, man, we're just going to have nothing but chaos and gridlock and all the rest. These individuals who have this narcissistic entitlement, they slow down the progress of any kind of group or relationship movement forward because they trigger so many emotions as they engage with you in this stubborn, hard-headed way. Now, I'm hoping that you can see this for what it is, and rather than getting triggered and then getting pulled into fruitless arguments, because they're not going to come back and say, okay, I'm going to give up my entitlement. They won't do that. Instead, you'll need to determine, well, I know what I believe. I know what's fair in my mind as to how I'm going to handle myself relative to you, and I'm going to live into my sense of responsibility. And then if they just don't like it, then they don't like it. You have the responsibility of being a decent individual. And then they still are going to hold on to this favorite thought of theirs. And that is, you don't understand my needs for special treatment. Whereas inside of yourself, your response can be, it's not that I don't understand your need for special treatment. I just don't agree with your need for special treatment. I'm not going to just go into that fawning kind of mode over individuals, and I'm not going to park my uniqueness and distinction at the back door whenever I enter the room. I want to be right. I want to be nice. I want to be pleasant. I've done my job properly, and I've lived into my responsibility properly when I know that I've gone to that place. They may not understand. That's their entitlement. That's on them. You don't have to play along with that. And I do hope that videos such as this are good for you, as it creates hopefully some stimulated thought as you try to figure out how wisest to respond to some of the narcissistic individuals in your life. If you'd like, I'd invite you to go beneath the video and hit that subscribe button. Beneath the video, you're also going to see links to, we have a new website that we've been building out, and we're going to be adding more to it, survivingnarcissism.tv. And on there, you can sign up for our email list and have yourself available to some mini videos and articles and things of that nature that would be bonus. If you have a need for online counseling, and I know some of you don't have face-to-face counseling that's available to you, or you just have a preference for that, we've vetted a group that can help you there. And I know that some of you would be able to take good advantage of something like that. We have my online workshops, my links to my books, and then we also have links to coffee mugs. Know that I take it seriously when you invite me into your personal space so that we can talk and we can engage about these issues that we've been doing in our Surviving Narcissism channel. I appreciate you having me along. I want for you to have a good life. I want you to have steadiness and composure. I wish you peace.